Hi everyone, I'm Dr. N.Senthil Madasamy, Associate Professor, Computer Science Engineering. Great pleasure for me to welcome you all for learning this session. In this session, topic to be covered is secure development practices under secure cloud software requirements for Unit 5 cloud security. At the end of Unit 5, the students will be able to outline software development for cloud using secure software design principles. At the end of the session, the students will be able to understand secure development practices under secure cloud software requirements. In this session, we will discuss about secure cloud software requirements. The requirements for secure cloud software are concerned with non-functional issues such as minimizing or eliminating vulnerabilities and ensuring that the software will perform as required, even under attack. This goal is distinct from security functionality in software, which addresses the areas that derive from information security policy such as identification, authentication, and authorization. Software requirements engineering is the process of determining customer software expectation and needs, and it is conducted before the software design phase. The requirements have to be unambiguous, correct, quantifiable, and detailed. Data and Analysis Center for Software state that all software shares the following three security needs. First one is it must be dependable under anticipated operating conditions and remain dependable under hostile operating conditions. Second one is it must be trustworthy in its own behavior and in its inability to be compromised by an attacker through exploitation of vulnerabilities or insertion of malicious code. Third one is it must be resilient enough to recover quickly to full operational capability with a minimum of damage to itself, the resources and data it handles, and the external components with which it interacts. In many aspects, the tools and techniques used to design and develop clean, efficient cloud applications will support the development of secure code as well. Special attention, however, should be shown in the following areas. Under the area of handling data, some data is more sensitive and requires special handling. As the internet continues to be a driving force in most of our everyday lives, more and more personal and sensitive information will be put on cloud servers. The requirements for handling this private information did not exist 5 years ago. While other data such as passwords has always required special handling, the following are special cases for handling of sensitive or critical data. Passwords should never be transmitted in the clear. They should always be encrypted. Passwords should never be viewable on user screen as they are entered into the computer. Even though ASICs are being displayed, care must be taken in to ensure that it is not just because the font is all ASICs. If that is the case, someone could steal the password by copying and pasting the password from the screen. If possible, the password should always be encrypted with one-way hashes. This will ensure that no one, that is not even a system administrator, can extract the password from the server. The only way to break the password would be through brute force cracking. With one-way hashing, the actual passwords are not compared to authenticate the user. Rather, the hashed value is stored on the server and is compared with the hashed value sent by the user. If the passwords cannot be decrypted, the user cannot be provided their passwords when they forget them. In such cases, the system administrator must enter a new password for the user, which the user can change upon re-entering the application. Credit card and other financial information should never be sent in the clear. Cloud servers should minimize the transmissions and printing of credit card information. This includes all reports that may be used for internal use, such as troubleshooting, status, and progress reports. Sensitive data should not be passed to cloud server as part of the query string. Query string may be recorded in logs and accessed by persons not authorized to see the credit card information. For example, the following query string includes a credit card number. Under the area of code practices, care must be taken not to expose too much information to a would-be attacker. The minimum necessary information should be included in cloud server code. The attackers will spend countless hours examining HTML and scripts for information that can be used to make their intrusion easier to accomplish. The comments should be stripped from operational code and names and other personal information should be avoided. HTML comment fields should not reveal exploitable information about the developers or the organization. The comments are not bad bugs, but those embedded in the HTML or client script and which may contain private information can be very dangerous in the hands of the attacker. Third-party software packages such as web servers and FTP servers often provide a banners that indicate the version of the software that is running. Attackers can use this information to narrow their search of exploits to apply to these targets. In most cases, these banners can be suppressed or altered. Under the area of language options, consider the strength and weakness of the language used. One of the most frequently discovered vulnerabilities in cloud server application is a direct result of the use of C and C++. The C language is unable to detect and prevent improper memory allocation, which can result in buffer overflows. Because the C language cannot prevent buffer overflows, it is left to the programmers to implement safe programming techniques. Good coding practices will check for boundary limits and ensure that functions are properly called. This requires a great deal of discipline from the programmer, and in practice, even the most experienced developers can overlook this check occasionally. One of the reasons Java is so popular is because of its intrinsic security mechanisms. Malicious language concepts should not be possible in Java. The Java virtual machine is responsible for stopping buffer overflows, the use of uninitialized variables, and use of invalid opcodes. Under the area of input validation and content injection, data entered by a user should never have direct access to a comment or a query. All user input that cannot be trusted must be verified and validated. Content injection occurs when the cloud server takes input from the user and applies the content of the input into the comments or SQL commands. Essentially, the user input is injected into a command that is executed by the server. The content injection can occur when server does not have a clear distinction and separation between the data input and commands are executed. Under the area of physical security of the system, the physical access to the cloud server should be restricted. Any cloud server is vulnerable to an attacker with unlimited time and physical access to the server. Additionally, physical problems could cause the server to have some downtime. This would be a loss of availability, which you may recall is one of the key principles of the security trade: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The following items should be provided to ensure server availability. Provide an uninterruptible power supply unit with surge protection. Provide fire protection to minimize the loss of personnel and the equipment. Provide adequate cooling and ventilation. Provide adequate lighting and workspace for maintaining and upgrading the system. Restrict physical access to the server. Unauthorized person should not get near the server. Even casual contact can lead to outages. The server space should be locked and alarmed. Any access to the space should be recorded for the later evaluation. Should a problem occur, inventory should be tightly controlled and monitored. Physical protection. Listed here should extend to the network cables and other devices such as routers that are critical to the cloud server operations. The summary of this session, we learned secure development practices under secure cloud software recommends. I hope you found this lecture is more informative. Thank you and have a nice day.